And so it's always a privilege to be behind this bima to speak His word, and today especially as we're going to look into some end-time prophecies which come directly from the mouth of Jesus, Yeshua Himself. Now before we start, according to the biblical calendar, this coming Wednesday evening, continuing through the Thursday, is the 9th of Av of the Hebrew calendar, a day also widely known in Jewish circles as Tisha B'Av. It is the day taken to remember the destruction of the first and second temple, which, and I want you to listen to this, fell on the same date, separated by about 650 years. The temple's first destruction came in 586 BC, the second one in 70 AD. It was Josephus, 2,000 years ago, the Jewish historian of the first century, who recorded the date of the destruction of the second temple. And he writes that he was surprised to see that both temples actually were destroyed on the same day. And so the 9th of Av stayed engraved in the mind of the Jews who daily pray for the rebuilding actually of the temple. We're going to see more of this today. And history also left us some signs of this last destruction. In 70 AD, the picture on the screen was taken in Jerusalem during our last trip. You can see these massive stones, which are believed to be the very stone belonging to the second temple, which were thrown down from on top by the Romans. They're kept there as a testimony, actually, of this tragedy. So the 9th of Av is considered the saddest day in the Jewish calendar. In many Orthodox synagogues, the congregation members will actually sit on the floor or on low benches, as will private mourners do in their homes. They will dim the light as a symbol of darkness that has befallen their people on that day. Then the Megillah of Lamentation, that is the book of lamentation, is recited. This is a very sad book. This is the book which relates the great suffering following the destruction of the first temple when the Babylonian came into Jerusalem in 586 BC. And tradition added that many other tragedies came on this day. They say that it was on the 9th of Av when the Roman emperor renamed Jerusalem for Aelia Capitolina. It was also said that it was on this day in 1492 the Jews were expelled from Spain in the Inquisition. It is also said that on this date the Messiah would be born. As opposed to modern Jewish thinking, many among the ancient rabbis attached redemption of humanity with actually the suffering of the Messiah. This truth was lost. The famous chapter of Isaiah 53, which speaks of the suffering Messiah, is quoted in many rabbinical writings, connecting the death and redemption and mission of the Messiah with suffering. The Talmud, the Kabbalah, the Midrash Rabbah, among other Jewish books, confirm that the Messiah will die in similar fashion to how actually Yeshua died. But on the 9th of Av also points to the importance of the temple is actually for the Jewish people. You know that today many groups in Israel are working hard to have the temple rebuilt soon, and its construction should begin any day now, for the temple is one of the last piece of the puzzle that is needed for the very end time prophecy of the Great Tribulation actually to begin. And in the prophecies we're about to look into today, Jesus himself mentions one such prophecy that will trigger the last part of the 7-year tribulation. One that is directly connected and requires actually the rebuilding of the temple, which needs to be constructed before the second coming. The words of these prophecies concern the abomination of desolation, and says, when you see this, Jesus says, I'm at the door. We're going to look into this term and what it actually means.